we're back, and we just finished watching the live version of the stage play for Hamilton, which was recorded live in New York at the Richard Rodgers Theatre in June of 2016 with the original cast members, I think right before the first run was over. It is currently streaming on Disney Plus, and I guess we'll go around the room and get impressions. Would you like to go first?
I thought it was great. Lots of good songs, a topic that I was unaware was so fascinating. Who the hell knew that Alexander Hamilton was that interesting a guy? Yeah. Good all around. Lots of singing.
Lots of singing. It is a musical, after all.
I don't think there was a single break where the characters just talked.
Not really, no.
No.
Everything.
Everything was just one song to the next, to the next, to the next.
To the next.
Yeah, I did not know where one song ended and the other one began.
Is that how? I mean, I've been to a lot of musicals, and I could swear there's some talking bits.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it really depends on the musical. I'm trying to rack my brain too, but I feel like I've seen things with both more than this. This is continuous. It's fluid. It just goes and goes and goes and goes, and you have to really give it to theater performers to maintain that level of. I mean, you see them
super fast.
Yeah, Lin-Manuel, who's the writer and I guess creator of this piece of art, he's famous for his like rapid fire just riffing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's impressive to watch him sometimes when you see him on the late shows. Yeah, I mean, G, what did you think of it?
I thought it was really, really, really good.
Did you have a favorite part? No. Just all around good?
Yes.
What about it was so good?
I like the topic.
You thought you found the character interesting?
Yeah, like that Hamilton actually existed at some point, and nonfiction usually sucks, so this was nice.
Yeah, and he was like a founding father of the country, and
he was likable. Well, for the most part.
I mean, he was a human being. He had his flaws.
Yeah.
But he was compelling. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. This is also, I mean, I feel like we should also mention that Lin-Manuel got the idea to do this after reading, I guess, a biography about Alexander Hamilton that Ron Chernow wrote in 2004. What did you think, Olive? And please be honest.
Seriously, I did not know what's going on.
Okay.
There wasn't any words that described to me what was going on at all.
Okay.
There was a bunch of singing, and sometimes I wished a song was over already.
Did you like the songs though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the songs were good, right?
Yeah. Not like that Frozen nonsense.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the strength of the play is just the singing talents of everybody involved. I mean, it was really impressive. The amount, not just the singing, but the amount of lyrics in some of the songs.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, Lin-Manuel is he's very verbose, so you see that.
But it wasn't just him. Everybody.
No, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were some like more
intricate,
like
verses,
singing like typical musical stuff, but
right.
like when you got into the rap and it was just like rapid fire. It was. I loved how they made cabinet meetings rap battles.
Yes. Well, that was another thing that I thought was interesting, how there was different kind of musical genres in this. Yeah. Like you could see like R&B, you could see rap, you can sort of see what was another type of music. I don't know, but it was very diverse, and it just played
like generic poppy things like The King.
Yes, The King was great. He was crazy. He was crazy, but he was fun, and it was like it added a layer of levity.
Yeah, he was sort of like the chorus.
Yes. You know? So something that I thought of while I was watching this, we haven't watched this movie with you kids, but I know you've seen this movie. Amadeus. Like,
yes.
it reminded me so much, and I don't know the background of Hamilton other than the big duel was in Weehawken, because we previously lived in the little town of Weehawken. So
walk past that
park
the
almost all the
several times. A little monument to the whole thing.
Exactly. So I think that is my only background to this man's life. I mean, I knew that he existed, obviously, from school. I don't remember much. I meant to sit down and...
He's on a $10 bill?
He's on this... right. I meant to Google him before we watched this film, but life got in the way, so I didn't really have time to peruse and get some more information into my brain. But watching it, to me, it was very reminiscent of Amadeus, Milos Forman's movie, in which, like, the Salieri character was the Burr character, how this other genius, he's a man, but he catapults himself to a different level. I mean, he was an immigrant, right? He was son of a bastard, right? He was...
You're talking about... Hamilton.
Talking about Hamilton, or like how Burr saw him. Remember, he's the
son of a W.
Right, son of a whore, right?
Son of a whore,
bastard son, right?
Bastard son of a whore.
Right. So he came from nothing, and he became
what is called life, Lonnie.
What is called life? I don't even know what that means. So he made himself into something. So he actually did leave a legacy.
Yeah.
And like as I'm watching it, and such fantastic performance by all the actors, right?
Son of a bad word and a Scotsman.
Are Scotsman, is that like a curse now? That's so funny to me.
Back then, I guess.
I guess.
Who knows?
But, so, the character of Burr is played by Leslie Odom Jr., who is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Phenomenal. Really I mean, I feel like even more than Hamilton, I mean, obviously Hamilton is the core of the story, but Burr is a huge portion of it as well.
Yeah.
Their stories are so intertwined, and you almost, I mean, I don't know about anybody else at this table, but I almost felt sympathy for Burr. It was like he was constantly being foiled by Hamilton, who, I mean, there wasn't anything special about Hamilton other than his absolute tenacity.
No, I think...
And his ability to write well.
I don't view it really as being foiled. You could see in the beginning, when the two meet at the first time that the two meet, he approaches Burr because he admires him.
Right.
And then Burr says something that basically just instantly sours Hamilton. He says, talk less, smile more. Right. Don't let anybody know what's in your heart,
right,
in your mind.
Right.
And that just was like the absolute antithesis of everything Hamilton stood for, because he was like, you stand for something and you fight for it.
Right.
And that was his mantra, and that was everything they did, and he did that, and he did it so well that he pretty much achieved everything that Burr aspired to.
Right.
And Burr's was just, I have faith in my plans. I'm not standing on the sidelines. I'm biding my time.
And he really wasn't. He was a spectator the whole time.
He was a spectator the whole time, and then finally, when he decides, I'm going to run for president.
Right.
Even then, people are like, I don't really know what the guy stands for, but probably have a beer with him or something like, which is like, I think a dig at like President Bush.
Right.
They said the same thing about him.
Remember? Right.
And then at the end, Hamilton just that last thing was probably the only thing that I could actually see as that Burr could read as a direct attack upon him by Hamilton, because all the other stuff, Hamilton never sought out to like foil him or stymie him in any way. It was always just, come on, stand up. He was constantly telling Burr,
Right.
You got to stand up for something. We just won our independence, and you're still this guy who just doesn't stand up, who doesn't commit, who's constantly keeping.
But I don't you think that in the same way, this was Salieri, right?
It's exactly like Salieri.
He wanted to be Amadeus.
I think
and he couldn't understand how God had gifted Amadeus with this ability to just create.
Amadeus, this vulgar child.
Exactly, right? How he describes him.
and he could not help but appreciate that.
Right.
And it drove him mad. It enraged him.
Right.
And
even in this story, like towards the end, right, when I don't know if we should say spoilers. I mean, if you haven't picked up a history book, or if you haven't seen Hamilton, or if you, I feel like people know how that's gonna end.
Spoiler alert, because it's something that happened over 100 years ago, and I think one of the first lines that Burr says is, "I'm the guy that shot him."
Right.
I'm the damn fool who shot him.
Right.
So, spoiler alert for the first minute of the play. Aaron Burr shoots and kills Alexander Hamilton at the end of the play.
Oh no, we've given it away.
I hope that doesn't shatter your enjoyment.
But no, I mean, because I feel like when the story opens up, Hamilton comes to New York. Burr's already on the scene. He has this gaggle of, I guess, friends or acquaintances who then, because of Hamilton's charisma and tenacity and just he was
pretty much
so
co-ops Burr's entire group.
Posse, it was crazy. And then just everything, and it was so funny because it was like he even reached out to him, like when he was talking about doing the Federalist Papers. He reached out to Burr, and Burr was like, "Nah, son, I'm not interested, whatever."
Yeah,
and then
that was
another
exactly
way that Hamilton made a name for himself by
stand up, state your mind,
write about this Constitution.
And he was always just no.
And then at the end, kind of to your point, where Hamilton says to him, "You were somebody that I had always seen as a friend," when Burr calls him out for a duel, right? You were somebody that I always saw as a friend. So I don't think that Hamilton realized he was in competition with Burr, but Burr definitely saw Hamilton as competition.
It was absolute jealousy. I mean, that reoccurring thing. I want to be in the room where it happens.
Right.
I want to be in the room where it happens, and it was like they walked right past him and said, "Come on, Hamilton."
Right.
He got pulled in, and then it just whatever happened.
Yeah.
And that was just another knife in him.
Right.
And I can only imagine it's even worse when you feel like, oh, this guy's my rival, this guy's my competition, this guy is the guy who we're constantly jockeying against each other and making each other better, and the other guy is just like, what? You think of me that way? I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah. There.
And it's just like you said with Salieri and Mozart. Salieri was the court composer. He had the favor of the king, but he knew he was nothing compared to this vulgar child. Because he could just. There was that. We're talking about Mozart. Amadeus now. I just always remember that scene where, Salieri wrote a song, and then Amadeus is just, he sits down and is like, "Oh, that's pretty good. Well, maybe we could add a little of this to it, a little of that," and it was 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what Hamilton did.
Yeah.
When he first introduces him to his group of friends, it's almost instantly that Burr is sort of shifted to the sideline, and next everybody's just drinking with Hamilton.
Right, and basking in his charisma.
They're just absorbed in his enthusiasm and his charisma about everything. And that was one of the things that they kept saying. He's why don't he's writing like he's running out of time or something, because he was constantly writing. And that was that was his weapon. When he wanted the sword, George Washington gave him the pen.
Pen, right.
And that's the thing.
Although eventually he gets the sword, right?
Eventually, in the final battle, he gets
right.
the sword.
He gets in there, but for the most part. So, I mean, he served his country as a wordsmith, a military person. I don't know what branch. I'm guessing army, right?
There was only the army back then.
There was only the army back then. Oh, yeah, there wouldn't be Marines. There wouldn't be an Air Force or a Navy. Well, maybe a Navy, right? But most of that fighting was on land.
The Navy and the Army were all the same thing.
Yeah. But, and then as the Secretary of Treasury, right?
He became Secretary of the Treasury. He founded the Federal Reserve.
Amazing, amazing. Kind of an unsung hero. I don't remember learning about Hamilton much in school.
Yeah, not really. You would learn... I mean,
George Washington and Lincoln were like the big ones, right? You learn about
Washington, Lincoln, and then that was like another funny thing in the play is when they introduced George Washington, it's just like, you know, here he is, George Washington.
Well, that character too was very charismatic, and I loved the other thing that I loved about that was how Washington really took Hamilton under his wing, almost like a son. He tried to always guide him in the correct manner. Yeah. And he definitely saw a lot in Hamilton. He dismissed Burr. Remember at the beginning? He's like, you can go. And he made Hamilton like his right-hand man.
Yeah.
Another knife to Burr, right?
Burr, yeah.
So that was very nice, and especially having been someone who was born, I guess, a bastard without a father. Was he born a bastard, or did his father leave? Or
his father left.
His father left, and his mother died when he was
12.
12,
said, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Died. They both got sick, but he lived.
Yeah.
And she died.
Yeah.
He said he never seemed to die.
Yes, that was a sad song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The song, I mean, the lyrics in all the songs are really
top notch,
like amazing, powerful stuff.
Yeah,
and it conveying the story so well through song is an amazing feat.
Yes, because
and the singing never stops. I think we said that before, but yeah, there's no.
But not in a bad way, right?
No, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
There's never a spot where there's somebody sitting there just dishing exposition. It's just. All right, moving on. And everybody's just great.
Amazing. I was just going to say...
The guy who played Lafayette and...
David Dick, who's in Snowpiercer now.
Who's now in Snowpiercer.
He's fantastic.
He was fantastic.
He's amazing. I was also going to say, shout out to Chris Jackson, my personal favorite, as George Washington.
The guy who played King George.
Oh, his name is Jonathan Groff.
He was... King George was, I guess...
And he's also Kristoff in the Frozen movies.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
He provided a good dose of comedy, but also like menacing. Like his first song was "I'll kill your friends and family," and to show you how much I love you.
Yes.
That was some good.
And again, another powerful performance by Leslie Odom Jr., right? I mean, as Aaron Burr, he was. I think. I know that it's Hamilton's story and it's Hamilton's play, but I feel like those two stories are so intertwined. Burr wouldn't obviously even be a footnote in history without Hamilton. Again, playing second fiddle, right? I mean, Hamilton really did a lot on his own.
Even at the end, he basically says, "Are you going to make your own story or be the villain in somebody else's?"
Yeah.
And that's what
happens, right? Yeah.
He never got his chance to make history other than being the villain in Alexander Hamilton's story.
I know you kids have never seen a Broadway show. What did that look like? Seeing a filmed version of a live production of a musical.
It was nice, but I like movies better because there aren't a bunch of obnoxious people screaming.
No audience reactions. What about you, Olive? What did you think?
That's
Did that take you?
Well,
that's the whole thing about the theater experience, right? When you go to a theater.
Well, when you go to the movies and it's a comedy and you hear people laugh or you hear people cheer.
It's sort of the same.
It's part of the experience. Very
That's
rarely.
why I like watching movies at home. That's what I mean.
I got one.
Some people
one,
are nice
one of the treats about seeing
themselves.
one of the treats for me about seeing like the Marvel films is people just losing their mind when like something happens.
Captain getting
that hammer. Like, yeah, everybody cheered on that one.
Yes,
I cheered.
I loved it. That was a great scene.
I was just like, yes, yes.
What about you, Olive? What did you think about watching a filmed live performance? Did it take you out of the story, or you just weren't even invested in it to begin with?
I wasn't invested.
Oh God,
That's fair.
Did you find it a little strange how like?
I didn't like the people screaming at the beginning.
No, I'm talking about like in a play, obviously they can't cut the scene and say 10 years later or something like that. And sometimes actors have to play more than one character. Did you notice that? Like, you know, suddenly there'd be a passage of time, and for us it was just some guy walking down a flight of stairs. But in the story, like, supposedly a certain amount of time took place. Did you even notice that was happening?
Right, like the Marquis de Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson were played by the same actor. Did you notice that?
Remember in the beginning there was the guy who was saying everything with a French accent?
Yes.
Did you notice that he was the same guy who played Thomas Jefferson?
I did.
No.
You didn't notice that an actor was playing two different roles?
No.
Ah.
There was 3 actors that came back twice.
I wasn't focusing on the voices. I was just listening to the story.
Actually, no. And also Peggy and Maria, right? They also did double duty. The youngest.
Peggy was also Mariah?
Yeah.
My name is Evan.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot that Peggy existed.
Well, she wasn't a big part of the story. I think the only reason why Angelica was because I think originally they were.
Angelica had an amazing voice.
That song, jeez.
She had a couple of songs.
She had a couple of songs, but that first song is just unreal.
Every single time.
Yeah, she.
Who was she?
Renee Elise Goldsberry, who has also been in One Life to Live, Pistol Whipped with Steven Seagal.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting. The House with the Clocks on the Walls. She was Selena Izzard.
Was she like the?
She was the wife.
She was the
guy's wife.
Bad guy's wife.
Interesting. I completely forgot about that. She was also in Altered Carbon and something called Waves. She was in The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. She was in The Get Down. Yeah, her voice was phenomenal.
I wonder what she sang in that Steven Seagal movie.
I don't think she sang in that Steven Seagal movie.
Steven Seagal, the musical.
I would love to see that. Please start writing that immediately.
It's like a medley of all his great movies. Death and
But and also this play went on to win a gajillion awards, including a little thing called a Pulitzer Prize. So kudos to Lin-Manuel for that. Scale of 1 to 10, Olive G. We'll start with you since. What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
You know, when you're older,
4.
4. I think when you're older, you'll be able to appreciate
it. 4. Yeah. What about you, Jay? What would
4.
you give it? You know, a lot of work goes into that. People rehearse, they practice, people are dancing.
Olivia.
Did you see the sweat sheen on some of those guys' foreheads from all the movement under those hot lights? And they do it, what,
practice.
6 times a week, sometimes twice a day. Yeah. That was a 2-hour and 40-minute extravaganza. So like legit, because our intermission, we obviously weren't at the theater, was only 1 minute.
Yeah.
So that was a long play. That was almost 3 hours. That requires a lot of work and a lot of coordination.
Fine, I'll do the 5 then for those extra credits.
Good. Extra credits. Good. Now we're talking.
We badgered her in.
I think I give this 8.75.
8.75.
It was very good.
It was excellent.
Yeah, I put it somewhere between an 8 and 9.
I was going to say 8.5. It was phenomenal. I mean, I feel like, unfortunately, a stage play and a movie are very, very different.
Yeah.
And things about this, while fantastic, you sort of lose something in that you're not having that personal experience with your actor 20 feet away from you. But still, it's the script or the lyrics and the book, I guess that's what they call it in theater, right? The book is just phenomenal. I mean, they did such an amazing job. Lin-Manuel Miranda has a truly, truly amazing gift for putting words together. And just a great production, very simple, very Spartan, but definitely got the story across. Didn't really need all this craziness.
Yeah, the sets were very big.
Bare,
it was
basic.
Like, you know, raw wood and
there was like that
think,
revolving Lazy Susan on the floor.
Yeah, it was a revolving floor, and maybe they had a table.
Yeah, which got transported by the ensemble cast, right?
Yeah.
They would bring stuff in.
Yeah, they definitely handled things well. Like when he was singing about a tornado or a hurricane or something around him.
Yeah.
And, like, they had the people revolving with the light on them.
Yeah.
They were moving slowly, but they were carrying pieces of debris and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That looked really good.
Yeah.
It's like he was in the center of this maelstrom that they created.
Yeah. That's like the other nice thing about when theater is done well. It's like all these components come in and just work so nicely. Like one of the earlier scenes when I guess Burr's daughter is born and Hamilton's son is born, and they're both side by side basically saying the same thing.
And that was a good trick of the lighting they did there, where it almost looked like a split screen.
It did. Burr was behind red. Hamilton was behind blue, I believe. Yeah, I mean, really well done. And from top to bottom, fantastic production, amazing lyrics, great direction, a thumbs up for the costumes, really fantastic ensemble actors and dancers, top-notch cast. Again, I'm so incredibly just bowled over by the Chris Jackson, who did George Washington, David Diggs, who was the Marquis and Jefferson, Renee, who did Angelica, Lin-Manuel, obviously, and Leslie Odom. I think he was, believe it or not, as much as this was Hamilton's piece, I really just, my heart went out to Burr. I really felt for him, because I feel like he was always like just this shy of getting to where he wanted to be, and he just could never. It was like he was like the Michelle Kwan of early American politics. He was only ever going to be number 2.
You know, I did feel some sympathy towards him, and it was just you feel bad because he was a victim of his own making.
Yes.
God damn it!
What the hell?
I don't know, the unrelated from the little one.
Okay.
But yeah, he was sort of a victim of his own design.
Yeah.
And it was just because he couldn't. He was too
timid.
I was gonna say, yeah, timid. I was about to say the same word. He was just too timid to take a stand, and it almost basically he would go where the wind blew.
Yes, I think that was another line, right? He would always go whichever way the winds blew. I think that was one of the lines.
And I could see how Hamilton would absolutely not respect that, because Hamilton was the one who was guiding. He was the one who wanted to take things to a certain place, the place that he thought that they should go.
Right.
And he was very assertive in his belief. It's got to be this way. It's got to be this way. And Burr was just like, I'm not going to say anything until the dust is settled, and then I'll chime in.
Right.
Until the next controversy begins, and then I'll once again bide my time. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the term he used, but it was basically that.
Yeah. For sure.
Anyway,
it's
not a musical guy here, but I liked it.
Yeah,
me too.
I enjoyed it a lot. Little one did not, but I think she had other stuff going on. She is furiously drawing in this little notebook of hers. So
I like drawing.
It's very late. I'm sure I will post this early on July 4th because it's already 10:30. It's going to take me about 2 hours to clean this up. But if you have Disney Plus, watch this. Absolutely. Be enthralled, be entertained, learn something. And that's it from us, and we'll talk to y'all really soon. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Night.